You're filming people.
I'm not filming. I'm not filming them people at all.
I've just stood watching you.
No, I was changing the battery.
Right. Okay. Well, I'm not going to dispute that. But you were stood by a fence line, observing people. Have you got a ticket for the match?
For your own sake, in future, if you have press as well, because it's quite a common question for press that we would ask that
you're just using every trick in the book. You want to do this, don't you? Go on, come on, go and do it.
Your name and address.
Go on, do it. Come on.
I don't want to search you. I'm asking for your name and address.
Why do you want my name and address?
Like I've said.
Under what provision do you want my address? Just make it clear to me.
Based on the current counter-terrorism threat.
Yep.
You've been with this group of people all day. You're now on private property.
Yep.
You've disputed the fact that you're filming on private property. It's a massive, massive football fixture. 54,000 people are going to be present. You've not got a ticket. You're on private land.
A camera isn't a device of terrorist purposes.
And you're acting suspiciously.
I'm not. You're just using every trick in the book. You know what you're doing. Yeah. I know what you're doing. It's cool.
I'm not going any further. I'll give you my grounds. Okay.
Right off the bat, we see a classic issue with the stop and account procedure. The officer engages the auditor because he was observing people near a fence line. While an officer can ask questions, the auditor is under no legal obligation to answer them unless under arrest or detained under specific legislation. The officer immediately invokes counterterrorism as a reason to demand a name and address. This is a massive leap. Under Section 43 of the Terrorism Act 2000, an officer must have reasonable suspicion that the person is a terrorist to stop and search them. Simply standing on a public accessible road or car park and filming does not meet the legal threshold for reasonable suspicion. The officer also mentions private property. Remember, trespass is a civil matter in the UK, not a criminal one, unless it becomes aggravated trespass. The police are stepping into a civil dispute here without lawful authority to demand details.
So what provision are you enforcing, sir? Just to make it clear. No, what provision?
Like I've explained.
What provision? What section of what?
Under the counter-terrorism law.
Which section?
I'm obliged to ask for your name and address.
Yeah, but which section?
Which section?
Yeah, I need to know for my personal records, because I keep personal records.
That's fine. I'll refer to my pocket notebook and I'll give you a full legislation hit. But whilst we're doing that, you give me your name and address.
But you've got access to PNLD. If you can find a section, find a section, I'll comply with you.
That's fine. Good man. Have you got permission off the club to be here? No.
I haven't been asked by the landowner to leave. But
not at the moment you haven't, but obviously this is a football fixture and we're on behalf of the club.
You want to do the thing, I'll comply with you. I'm going in a minute anyway, dude.
You're going nowhere at the moment. Okay, you're detained until I
detained?
Confirm your name and address.
Under what section am I detained?
I'm going to confirm that shortly, okay?
Surely, because...
under the counter-terrorism legislation, you've been acting suspiciously all day around a large group of people.
You know I haven't.
This is painful to watch. The order asks a simple fundamental question. What specific provision are you using? The officer cannot answer immediately and pulls out his phone to check the PNLD, Police National Legal Database. If a police officer deprives you of your liberty, which he admits he is doing by saying the man is detained, he must know the power before the detention. You cannot detain a citizen and then Google why you detained them. This arguably makes the detention unlawful from this moment. Under Pace Code A, the officer is required to clearly state the legal power and the grounds before commencing a search.
Because you don't like me being here.
I've got body-worn footage of you all
day
in the city centre.
So have I.
Which concerns me slightly.
Why does it concern?
Because I'm lawfully obliged to take my video capture. You've said you're press, you've got no press badge.
What do you want, my name and address, yeah?
You're lovely, yeah. Driving licence, any ID.
Just to... And
can you confirm which press agency you're working for, or you freelance?
Just to... which section am I providing these to you?
I will give you the section, like I've said. At the minute,
I'm detained without a section, I'm just detained?
Yes, you are, yeah.
Are you sure?
Yes, I am sure.
What's your column number for me?
There's my column number.
18241. Cheers, bro. There you go.
Much. I appreciate that.
No worries.
In 20 years of policing, mate.
You've messed up, not me, mate. You know this, and your colleague knows as well.
I disagree entirely.
No, your colleague knows as well, she's laughing.
I disagree entirely, mate.
I know, dude. I know. Don't worry about it.
That's fine.
We all make mistakes, my friend. It's section 43, I think.
Well, it's very kind of you to try.
No worries.
The officer is now fishing for ID. In the United Kingdom, unlike some other countries, there is no obligation to carry or produce identification when asked by the police unless you are driving a motor vehicle or are being reported for an offense. Like antisocial behavior under Section 50 of the Police Reform Act, the officer cites acting suspiciously around a large group of people. However, acting suspiciously is not a specific crime. The officer needs to suspect a specific offense is taking place. The officer correctly identifies that the officer is using the Terrorism Act as a catch-all tool to force identification, which is a misuse of power known as phishing.
Are you registered at this address? Because it's an offence not to have the correct address on your driving licence. Are you registered at that address?
It's an offence to drive with it, but...
it's an offence to have the wrong address on your driving licence.
What do you mean, registered at the address?
Basically, do you live
at that address?
Yeah, sometimes. You know, mate, you know.
I'm not going to take on any further, but you know what you're doing.
I do.
What I will confirm with Manchester City is they're going to get your photo on their club cameras as well.
I don't care. I don't follow football. It's for these kind of people. I don't follow football. Don't follow football. Not remotely interested, honestly. Do your worst. Tell the SAS.
It's frozen, so you have to bear with me for the moment, okay?
So am I detained under section 40?
The officer implies that because the author doesn't have a formal press pass, he isn't press. This is legally incorrect. The UK does not have statulicensed journalists. Anyone can be a freelance photographer or citizen journalist. Commendation to the officer for remaining relatively calm despite the auditor's sarcasm, but the officer taking a photo of the auditor on his personal or work mobile device is contentious. While police can gather intelligence, using a mobile phone to photograph a detainee who isn't being arrested can be seen as an intrusion of privacy, though often justified by officers under identifying a suspect for intelligence reports.
But what I have told you is I've got enough grounds currently, based on your actions today and the evidence on my body-worn video, to suggest you're up to no good.
To suggest I'm up to no good?
If you've provided the fact that you're filming for a company and you've got permission to be here...
I'm not filming for a company.
You said you remember the press.
I'm freelance press. Anyone can be press. You can be press.
Yes, if you have a badge and ID.
No. You can consider yourself press. You can take photos. You're freelance.
I've spoken to many freelance press officers before, and they all have ID.
We're not required to carry identification in the UK. We are not required to carry any ID in the UK, whether we are a banker, a press photographer, or a footballer. You don't need to carry any ID. I promise you, sir.
I'm still frozen.
No worries.
So we're still here. Okay.
Still detained indefinitely.
Well,
with no section. You can write it down. No problem.
The officer admits that he hasn't given his 4 grounds. This is a critical failure. A detention must be necessary, proportionate, and lawful. If the grounds haven't been established, the detention is technically invalid. We are now several minutes into a detention where the officer is still scrolling on his phone to justify his actions. Pace code A is clear. The detention should be as short as possible. Detaining a citizen while you read a manual on how to do your job is generally considered an unreasonable duration for a stop and search.
So
what we'll do also, I'm going to fill in an intelligence submission when I go back to the station, okay? Detailing this stop and why we've done it, okay?
As you're required to do. Yes. Terrifying.
The officer mentions he will be filling in an intelligence submission. This reveals the true motivation of the stop data harvesting. He likely knows he won't find bomb-making materials. He just wants a name for the database. It is unlawful to use Section 43 powers solely for the purpose of gathering intelligence. If the suspicion of terrorism isn't genuine, the search is unlawful. If the officer genuinely thought this man was a terrorist, why is he letting him stand there holding a device? In this case, the camera and not controlling his hands. The officer's body language contradicts the severity of the legislation he is quoting.
Shame you didn't do one of these against Salman Abedi.
Again, it's really...
Nothing to do with you. Nothing, I get it.
If that's how you feel, mate, that's how you feel. So,
no worries.
It's okay.
You know I'm not a terrorist. I know I'm not a terrorist. She knows I'm not a terrorist. He knows I'm not a terrorist because he's seen me all day filming football fans, and he knows I'm press.
I know you're not up to no good, mate.
You know I'm up to no good. You know for a fact.
Yeah, you're trying to mouth off and one about the Manchester bomb and be disrespectful to what I do.
What? What am I
you,
doing that's up to no good?
You're filming in a private area, large groups of public, entering an iconic site.
You're allowed to access this until you're asked to leave.
Right.
Trespass is a civil matter. It's not illegal.
Yeah. You're trying to question every ground I've
Of course I am, because I have civil rights, and the second I give them up, I'll lose them. You're the one being unlawful here, not me. This is an unlawful...
The officer brings up the Manchester bomb. While tragic events heighten security awareness, they cannot be used to suspend civil liberties or bypass the law. This is an emotional argument, not a legal one. The auditor correctly points out he is filming in a private area, but one open to the public. If the landowner hasn't asked him to leave, he isn't even trespassing yet. The police are acting as private security guards here, enforcing a policy rather than the law. The officer's comment about the auditor being disrespectful is irrelevant. Being disrespectful to police is not a crime.
Have I laid a finger on you?
You've detained me.
Have I laid a finger on you?
That is an assault because you've detained me unlawfully. You know it's an assault. You don't have to touch someone for an assault. You know that. You're a cop. You know that. This is an unlawful stop search. £500 per hour, sir. You know.
That's an opinion from yourself.
No, it's fact, case law. I've done it a few times.
Very well.
Don't worry, it's going on. Don't worry.
You'll notice that's not speeding up my process. I'm doing my job now, okay?
Don't worry, dude. If it goes over an hour, it'll be season. You know what unlawful detention looks like. You know what it looks like.
Mate, I understand my powers, I understand my grounds, okay?
You haven't given reasonable grounds for a terrorist search. Well, you haven't given any grounds.
I've told you what
you just said suspicious activity.
There's a debate here about assault. The officer says, "Have I laid a finger on you?" implying he hasn't assaulted him. However, under UK common law, false imprisonment or unlawful detention can occur without physical touch. If the officer tells you that you cannot leave and he does not have lawful authority to do so, that is a deprivation of liberty. If this goes to court, a judge would look at whether a reasonable person would suspect a man with a camera of being a terrorist. The answer is almost certainly no.
What's your current address? We've got 2 addresses on the system for you.
What address have you got, and I'll confirm it?
We've got this one, and we've got an address.
Just put that one.
That one? Okay. So you're living there at the moment?
Sometimes, yeah. I'm a vulnerable adult with mental health conditions. I live at separate addresses, and I'm under the care of separate people.
Okay. What mental health conditions have you got?
Paranoid schizophrenia.
Right. Do you wish to share how you're feeling at the moment?
Fine.
Need any support? Do you need any support?
No.
Okay.
I'm on medication. Yeah. I'm under a mental health team.
Have you got a caseworker? Have you got a care worker?
Yep.
Do you need me to speak to them at all?
No.
You
Fine.
sure?
Absolutely fine.
Okay.
I was
based on what you've said
now.
Myself. Based on what you've said.
Yep.
I've got a duty of care to make sure that you either get home safe or I speak to a care worker to confirm.
I'm trying to get home. I was just going over, as you approached me.
Are you with the chap on the bike?
Just as you approached me,
right,
yeah.
Okay.
I wouldn't like you to disclose any of my personal medical information.
The encounter ends with the officer asking the auditors to leave the area. Notice that no search actually took place. The officer detained him under Section 43. Stop and search, but didn't search him. This confirms that the objective was purely to get ID and move him on. This interaction was a failure of procedure. The officer detained a citizen without clear grounds, didn't know the legislation, failed to conduct search he detained him for, and essentially utilized a counterterrorism power to effect a civil trespass eviction. This is exactly the kind of policing that auditing channels aim to expose.
That's your opinion?
I know it is.
Okay.
Yeah. We're not going to get any further.
To go home with.
I'm perfectly able to go home. Promise you. Promise you that.
Thank you very much. I'm going to ask you to leave the area now, okay?
Sorry?
I'm going to ask you to leave the area to the gate, and then that's public land.
I'm going home anyway. That was my plan. Just as I was changing the battery, I was going home.
If you'd have said that as we'd have spoken to you, perhaps things would have been differently.
I did.
Okay.
See you in a bit.
Have a good night.
You too.
The encounter ends with the officer asking the auditor to leave the area. Notice that no search actually took place. The officer detained him under section 43, stop and search but didn't search him. This confirms that the objective was purely to get ID and move him on. This interaction was a failure of procedure. The officer detained a citizen without clear grounds, didn't know the legislation, failed to conduct the search he detained him for, and essentially utilised the counter-terrorism power to effect a civil trespass eviction. This is exactly the kind of policing that auditing channels aim to expose.